Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Shout out to us. 75 episodes.
Oh. So it's officially pumpkin beer season.
Yeah, you got two
I've
of
got
them there?
two of them here, yeah. I started out with the Cincinnati Mad Tree Pumpkin. Used to be called the Great Pumpkin. I think they got sued, though. Or got like a cease and desist. But Pumpkin and then New Holland Ichabod. This one's pretty good.
New Holland's a great brewery.
It's a great...
Up in Michigan.
Yes. I've had a lot of their stuff. I know a lot of people that have been there and they're like, it's good.
Yeah.
So it's like the second or third thing I think I've had of theirs, and it's never been bad.
Ichabod's an elite pumpkin ale name. I'm a big fan of that. The
not
can
bad.
looks sweet, by the way.
It is. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, shout out to pumpkin season. Feels like we're officially here tonight. I mean, pristine fall day today.
Oh, God, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Picture perfect weather. It's nice and cool out right now.
Yeah, it was cool this morning.
Oh,
Didn't put my doors back on my Jeep. It was cold this morning.
brisk. It was a brisk
I
drive
had
for
the
you.
heat on. It didn't matter. I went through, I just wanted to get like regular hot coffee because it was cold out. And I go through the drive-thru, and the lady in the drive-thru, like, through the microphone's like, "You look cold." Like, yeah, because I am. Like,
Thank you for the commentary.
Yeah. I'm glad I look what I actually am. Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, if you're here tonight, please, we appreciate you. Well, first and foremost, we appreciate you listening. Second, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Follow us on social media at Back9 Six-Pack. And as always, send us a fan mail text. All you got to do is click the link in the description. It's at the very top for everybody who's questioned that in the past. We had a few actually come in over the week, so
Yeah, I saw
got a
that.
couple to get to on the back half of the episode.
Can I want to bring up one thing.
Sure.
So, a couple things. You know I love high school golf. One, because I think it was the most fun I've ever had on a golf course was playing high school golf. It's the purest form of junior golf now. You know,
Yeah.
AJGA and all this stuff. Like, high school golf is the purest form of golf. Two teams, our alma mater, Corrine, made it to the districts for the second year in a row, which is, don't think it's been done, actually. They made it back-to-back years. Didn't play well today, but they made it. So kudos to them. Some are talking, is it a golf school now? I don't know. It used to be a football school.
No comment.
And then Lakota West, our local high school here, that we're right down the street from where we record at. Heartbreaker. They missed state by 4 shots.
Oh, tough.
But great season nonetheless.
Go Firebirds. Yeah, well, I guess one other random thing. The Reds hired a manager this week.
They did. And my Patio Beers question is related to that.
Okay, well, we won't spoil any of that. But
No, it's fine because I'm not going to pick this. Like, it's not my answer.
Yeah.
But an amazing hire.
Yeah, he kind of took himself out of baseball because he wasn't feeling like he was doing the job well. Said he had some health issues. That all kind of worries me a little bit. But I think, like, if you had to draw up a hire to make, someone like Terry Francona is what they need, I think.
I think someone to come in, like, look, I never, like, some people hated David Bell. I never hated David Bell.
Right.
I actually think he adopted a lot of the playing baseball based on analytics really well. You know, they were one of the best base stealing teams in the league the last 3 years because they was like, we're going to run the bases aggressively. That is all based on analytics, right?
Yep.
So I think he did a lot of things well. So I never hated David Bell, but there's definitely some things that felt like they needed cleaning up. And I think Terry's definitely the guy for it.
That's what I mean. It just feels like when you have like a young, potentially ascending team, you just need someone to come run like a tight ship, you know,
that's been
make
around.
the right calls, hold people accountable. I think he even said that in his presser. And yeah, someone that's been around and won a lot. So I think you just need a little bit. This team's been such a loser for so long now. You need a little bit of that winning attitude.
Yeah.
And they don't have any players on the team that have experienced that. So.
They have no, like, are the teams the last teams that were good for the Reds, like you had to roll one in the locker room, right? Like, guy's been around, He's done a lot of winning. He obviously was a player, not a manager, but they don't have anybody like that. Like even guys that have come from the outside have not been winners. So it's like you need Terry. Terry's a winner. Probably he was part of the most, I think, in our lifetime, the greatest World Series ever played.
Oh, probably.
I mean, the Cubs and the Indians.
Yeah.
I mean, that Game 7 comes down, tie it up in the bottom of the ninth. I mean, that doesn't get much better than that.
No.
So, but yeah, I'm glad. I think that was an awesome hire.
I agree. I'm with you. Well, from that we don't have much to say on the our golf front, I guess. I will say this, though. Turkey Open, we mentioned it last week. Registration is live. We've already got 13 teams.
Yeah.
Trending well.
I think I recruited another team. So we played in like the Met Handicap today.
We're going to talk about that too.
We'll get to that in a second. But the guys I played with, I'm like, didn't even get to like the third hole. I'm like, we were talking about Hamilton Elks and all this. And they're nomads when it comes to golf. They just kind of play wherever they can get on. And then we were talking about the Elks, and I'm like, oh, this sounds awesome, this and that. And it's like, well, if you want a test run, you can come play in my tournament. Our tournament, it's like, it's on Black Friday. So I think they're going to end up signing up. I got them the link.
Sweet. So, speaking of the link, back96pack.com. That is a number 9. 6 is spelled out. / Turkey Open, all one word, no hyphens. That the registration form's on that page. So please go ahead and get signed up if you want. We talked about it last episode, but we say we thought maybe 24 teams.
Yeah.
So we're more than halfway there, so don't wait around to sign up.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you no.
Yeah.
we want you to play.
And then I'll just blame it on the course telling us that we're capped out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I was clear. I think we could get 30, but, they might tell us no, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I get it. It's Black Friday.
There's not a lot of daylight when it comes to, so.
Yeah.
If there's any open play that wants to go off, especially if it's like a halfway decent day, we kind of have to be cognizant of other people that might not be playing in the event. So.
Sure. All right. You and Scotty played in the 55th Met Championship, or Handicap Championship, I should say.
God, we got off to such a good start.
4 Bridges?
Yep.
Okay.
Such a good start. But I think for me, the first hole was indicative of what was about to come. So it was so firm, like concrete firm. Like there's a good firm that makes it tough. Then there's what this was. And it was like landing the ball on a cart path. Like it was not a good firm.
Gotcha.
That course is not like it'd be fine if it played a little firm, but that course is not set up to play that way. Like our course is, right? It's supposed to play that way. This course is not that way. But we got off to a good start. Scotty getting a pop on the first hole, hits it like 10 feet, lags it up there, taps in, 1 under. It's like, all right. I kill a drive on the second hole, fan a 6-iron, trying to go for the green. And it was just like all downhill after that. Scotty got a little angry bug. He got some angry butterflies flying in his stomach and his head. He was slight energy vampire, for sure. Took the win right out of his. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I can't make a birdie.
Interesting.
I just can't.
Not one particular facet that holds you back. It's just
it's like I'll get in the right position and then I'll hit a really like a par 5. Like I'll hit a good second shot and I'll 3-putt.
Yeah.
Or I'll hit a good drive and then fan it. I'm 190 yards out to a big green. I fanned it 20 yards right.
Yeah.
And then just left myself I actually hit a pretty good chip shot up to like 12 feet, but it was not a scoring position. It's just like, just certain things, it seems like one thing goes wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's hard to put because I'm making a ton of pars, but it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. And I made none today. I made 0 birdies today.
Ooh.
0.
That's not good.
Yeah. We had 1 birdie all day.
You had 1 gross birdie, and it was Scotty?
No, 1 net birdie. We didn't even have a gross birdie. So,
in an event like that, do you give back? Like you play?
No. So based on how like course handicap and all that, 80%, I actually ended up at a 0.
Okay.
So, but I played last year at a +1 just based on the course we played and things like that. So it's a great event. Guys we played with were awesome. 9 under won it. I'm just like, I looked at Scotty. We went to lunch afterwards. We're looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, we saw a 9 under go up there. I said, bud, we weren't getting that today. Like, it didn't even matter. Like, we could have played really good. I think maybe just because I'm not getting any shots. So
Right.
realistically, unless he makes like 5 or 6 net birdies, I throw like 3 or 4 in. Like that's going to be tough. You know what I mean? 9 under is going to be tough because the winning team had 3 net eagles,
and they only shot 9.
Yeah, yeah. It played tough today. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
it did
that
play
firm,
tough.
that's true.
It did.
When you get a course like that where it's like some of the carries are forced and you got OB and neighbor.
Yeah, like for instance, right? Like number 7, par 3, played downwind today, 190 yards. Pretty high 7-iron. It landed in the middle of the green and went over the green.
Right, yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do there? There's no way to get it close. Like, the pin was, like, tucked behind a bunker. I'm like, there's no chance. And I did the smart thing and hit it towards the center of the green and still went over.
Right.
So, yeah, it was tough. But I think all in all, after we realized we were out of it, we had fun. But he had the angry monkeys jumping around in his head for a little while.
Did you shoot over par?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we shot 4 over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many shots was he getting?
16.
Okay. I mean,
but he did not make he parred the first hole and did not make a par the rest of the round.
yeah.
I mean, I want to say he probably shot over 100.
I was going to ask you, how does Scotty's game travel?
Honestly, not great.
Yeah, I could see that.
Not great, because I think the things he can get away with a little bit at our course,
Right, that's what I mean.
like the forced carries, like the approach shots with a carry, right? Like we have some, but
I mean, it's
like
very
short,
few.
like a lot of our greens short it's honestly where you kind of want to be, right? Like if you're going to miss a shot, you don't want to be
100%.
long.
Yeah.
You want to be short, and he can get away with that there at our course, but anywhere else, like there might be a bunker short, or if he hits a low shot, like a forced carry, like especially today with firm greens, like he had some of the approach shots, like he had no chance, like
Exactly.
no chance, and he's hitting 9-iron, but he just hits it so low that he just had no shot.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't travel very well, but no, we had fun. It was always fun to get out there and play a handicap event, and even though I feel like I have like 0 shot, and like I'm talking to the guys we're playing with, and they're like, we kept getting hounded. We were the first group off. We kept getting hounded for slow play. We were 2.5 holes in front of the group behind us.
Like a ranger was coming out after you, or
A volunteer. And so what I said, I was like, I'd never seen her. Like I played in 4 or 5 GCGA events, never seen her.
yeah.
She's like, guys, you're behind. I'm like, we're setting the pace, and we're 2.5 holes in front of the group and behind us. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I started to get a little like, I wonder, like, ma'am, like until we're holding the group up behind us, there's really no reason to worry about us. Like, go hound them to catch up to us, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
That seems dumb.
But they're like, you've played in that many. I'm like, but I think like guys get out there like that have high handicaps are like, that's their only contact with the GCGA, right?
For sure.
So,
yeah, I mean, maybe that should be one of my goals next year is to get out to an event. We'll see.
that's a good one. They always play good courses. Like last year was Shaker Run. This year's Four Bridges. They'll probably try to move it down somewhere like on the east side next year, I would imagine.
Okay. Yeah, might have to look into that one. All right. I guess it's time. The main event. Actually, you know what? We'll skip that. Let's go over our draft, our NFL team draft here.
Yeah, my Jaguars finally getting off the snide. They almost blew it.
Yeah.
To the Joey Flacco.
He's still elite.
Indian. He's so good.
He's still elite.
He's so good. I can't believe the Browns let him walk. It's unbelievable.
I can't believe he's still playing. It blows my mind.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so we got a pending game tonight with the Chiefs are playing the Saints. I think the Chiefs were winning as I walked in. My Chiefs, as I'm now calling them. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Bengals fans truly are down bad.
Oh, God. We'll get there. My team is 18-10, hanging strong. Everybody has a winning record except for the Bengals, of course. Chiefs are 4-0. Bengals 1-4, Lions 3-1. They're on bye this week. Texans 4-1, Falcons 3-2, Cowboys 3-2. Stole a couple this week. The Cowboys snuck one out against Pittsburgh, and the Falcons just improbable comeback against the Bucs on Thursday night. So that was nice to get those couple wins I wasn't necessarily expecting. Your Niners, ooh,
they're bad. They blew another lead.
Going on?
Brock Purdy sucks. We've talked about this.
Okay.
It's finally
I put that on TV for you.
The chickens are coming home to roost. That's what's happening right now.
Maybe.
Kyle Shanahan can't make everybody great. So
it's very possible. The Ravens 3-2. Eagles on bye 2-2 as well. Hoping they get healthy. Your Packers 3-2.
Winning
wasn't pretty, but it was a win.
I'll tell you what, Jordan Love came back after that pick six.
Yeah.
Like 12 completions in a row or something like that. Tucker Kraft's a monster, by the way. Just, oh, God. He makes me so happy to watch football. Like, watching him play football makes me happy.
Yeah, big day for Tucker. The Dolphins pick up a win, 2-3 against the toilet bowl of the week, the Patriots and Dolphins. Gross game. And then, like you said, Jaguars stole one from the Colts, 1-4. You're at 12-16. I'm at 18-10. Comfy lead right now, but tons and tons of football to be played. So
yeah,
you finally have some winning teams now. That's
I do.
Good. That's good news for you.
The 49ers. I felt dirty picking them, and that should have been a cue for me to like, this doesn't feel right. I probably shouldn't have taken them.
Yeah. We had talked a lot about like feeling bad about leaving the Jets and the Bills off. I feel less bad now. The Jets look kind of bad.
The Jets look bad.
The
Buffalo,
Bills, they're just so thin, dude.
Their weaknesses are starting to come to the top, right? Like they're starting to kind of float to the top of the surface, and we're kind of starting to see why it's like, this is why people didn't think they were that good, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, is Josh Allen going to play a good day? If he does, they have a chance. If he doesn't, then they don't. Essentially,
I mean, it does matter who's catching the ball, and they had like 8 drops or something stupid yesterday. Yeah. Shakir didn't play, and he's been their best player, which is saying a lot on its own.
But they did have the biggest blunder, I think, maybe ever clock management wise.
No, the Bills in clock trouble.
I mean, did you see?
I missed it because I was at the game, but I heard.
So like they're like
since.
Backed up on their goal line, and they're like throwing the ball. It's like, dude, just play to live in overtime. And they kicked the ball back to Houston from like their own end zone.
Yep.
Houston gets it. I think they run like 2 plays, kick a 59-yard field goal to win. It's like, if you just run it out, if they would have ran it twice, the clock would have ran out, and they just would have lived for overtime. Instead, they're throwing passes from like their 8-yard line.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the flip side of the coin of what happened with the Bengals yesterday. So
it's one thing to do it from the opponent's 40. It's a whole nother thing to do it from your own 8-yard line with 20 seconds left and one timeout.
100%.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's just one of those games where you got to know that situation, right?
Yeah.
It's situational football at that point. Okay. We can talk Bengals now.
I mean, at what point do we just like, they get booted from prime time and they suck. Like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what everybody else is afraid to say. They're not a good football team, period.
I mean, they're half of a good football team, I think.
It doesn't matter. If one facet sucks, you kind of suck. I mean, it just is what it is. But I think I said it last week, and I'm going to give myself kudos. I said they're going to have to go out and score 35, 38 points every game, and they're still going to lose some of those games. Well, it literally the next game that it happens, and I mean, they had more than enough chances to win that game, but without a defensive stop, by the way.
I mean, maybe. They scored 105 points in the last 3 games, and they're 1-2.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's definitely not good.
Like, that's what I told you though. Like their defense is so bad that there's just going to be games where they're going to score 38 and they're going to win. There's going to be games where they score 38 and lose. I mean, it's just gonna. That's how it's going to happen, unfortunately.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with the defense. I got shout out to my employer PFF. I've got some data here for you. All right. They've got the 8th worst coverage grade in the league, which many people don't realize. I don't think.
I thought it was going to be the worst.
well, the secondary has been playing truly, truly awful. A lot of people think it's like the front seven and teams are running over us. No, they can't cover anybody. Fourth worst tackling. And
that checks out.
Second worst pass rush grade.
Definitely checks out.
Yeah.
Tough day for Sam Hubbard haters yesterday, though.
No, he made one play.
First off, dropping him back in coverage should be punishable by death. And I saw him in coverage like 8 times yesterday. I'm like, you might as well give him a first down. Like, love me some Sam Hubbard. That is not his. That's never, even when he was like good, like in his prime, like his true prime, that was not his forte.
I'm like, get Lou out of here. I'm done. You have to make some kind of change. I don't care even if they at least fire him, and then if they still stink, sure, they still stink. But like, you can't.
It's not going to get
continue.
worse. I mean, it's not going to get worse.
I guess, but that's what we're talking about. Is like
if you fire him, it's like, oh, could it get worse? I don't think it could get worse. Actually, I truly don't believe it could get any worse.
So just a couple players I just wanted to call out as being like particularly bad because I was like, all right, it's one thing when your eyes see it, but then when you see like the numbers
actual
behind
stats.
Okay, Cam Taylor-Britt. If I see him sheath his sword one more time, I'm going to lose it because this guy has given up a 70% completion rate, 283 yards across 5 games, 20 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns, and he's allowing 131.3 passer rating against him. Get out of here, bud. We're done with the sword thing.
just for reference, right? The Packers had 2 brand new signed off the practice squad defensive backs yesterday playing Matthew Stafford. It wasn't like they were playing a backup quarterback. And I saw their PFF grades based on what you're telling me were probably way higher than his.
Oh, have to be.
Like guys that rolled off, probably packing groceries at a grocery store, came in and had a better PFF grade than him.
There was a Rashad Bateman, I believe, touchdown yesterday. He ran a shallow cross. We are in some sort of...
That was one of the Sam Hubbards in
Exactly.
In
That's what I'm getting to. One of these like weird zone blitz schemes or something. But it looked like man-to-man because the guys that were going the opposite way, their defenders trailed them.
Yeah.
Cam Taylor-Britt stays on the field and is covering air just in the middle of nowhere as Bateman goes underneath Logan Wilson, who also doesn't pick him up, and Sam Hubbard's on an island on the sideline against a wide receiver.
Look, actually, Sam played pretty good yesterday. He had his moments yesterday, but to put him in that situation is setting him. And it's not like, it'd be one thing if it was a tight end. It's like, okay, it's not the greatest matchup in the world, but it's maybe manageable. I mean, he's covering
I just think
a wide receiver.
I just think Cam didn't go after the guy. Everyone else was trailing the receivers, and he just didn't go. Okay, speaking of Sam Hubbard, he has a 44.2 pass rush grade on the season. Sad thing, he has the second most pressures on our team behind Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Half of them, albeit. But that's how bad this pass rush is. Okay. Geno Stone, this safety from Baltimore, free agent, supposed to be like a really good signing for us or whatever. I think he led or was near the top of the league in interceptions last year. He's got a 39.8 coverage grade, which is second worst on the team. And his tackling, you think, oh, maybe he can't cover, but he can tackle, 41.1 tackle grade. Just there's
a lot of useless bodies on that defense.
They have one impact player, and it's Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, that's it.
Probably the second and third best player are your 2 linebackers, which in today's league, okay, they're good players, but their position matters the least on the field.
And not only that, the way I look at the linebacker position, at least what most teams are going to, they're going to taller, leaner, quicker, rather than love Logan Wilson to death, but he's just not that.
No, but he's actually a pretty decent coverage linebacker.
He is.
I don't know what's happened to Pratt. Pratt used to be an elite.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's more Jermaine Pratt than anything.
He's been getting cooked.
The linebackers in today's league are not his build. You see what I'm getting at?
Look at Fred Warner.
Because they have to cover guys that are tight ends that are what used to be old wide receivers, right? These guys are a lot quicker, run better routes. Tight ends just not used to do that. Now, because all these teams have these tight ends that can, you have to have guys that are quicker. And Jermaine Pratt, I think is probably pretty good against the run, I would imagine. I guarantee his coverage grade is probably pretty bad. He always seems like a step behind.
Right. So I would say the defense suffers from what you like to say. They have a loft issue.
Oh, it's definitely a lack of fucking talent.
Yeah, they have a lack of fucking talent right now.
It is a huge loft issue.
Which gets me to my greater point, which is this. I don't know why we let them trick us, because this organization is just like perpetually failing us as fans and failing the team. You let people like Jesse Bates walk and things like that because you're allegedly, we got these big bills coming up to pay Jamar and T and whatever. Those guys yesterday, Jamar had 10 catches for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. T had 9 for 83 and 2 touchdowns. And they've caused problems with both of them with contract disputes.
Yeah.
Now, if you're...
But I think it goes further back than that.
Oh, for
the
sure.
Bengals, because realistically, they just thought they had all this time to play with. You know, like you look at the Charlie Jones draft pick, right? And you're like, he was second round?
Who could say?
I think he was second or third. He's returning punts.
Yeah.
And it's like, imagine a defensive guy you could have had in that pick.
No doubt.
That you don't have to pay, right? Like they're cheap right now. I saw some of the draft picks like 2 years ago because I think that was Charlie Jones' draft year. It's like I get it. Like you're trying to find Tyler Boyd's replacement. Realistically, you're probably going to have to find T. Higgins' replacement. So you're trying to but I think you can strategically draft guys and get the defensive side of the ball set up for success and not just throw things against the wall like drafting Charlie Jones from Purdue. And God love him, he was really good at Purdue, but there's just certain guys you look at and you go, that's not an NFL talent.
Why are we drafting a potential slot receiver that high?
And then you get Yoshivash. That was a great, that's a great pickup, right? But
T's going to walk at the end of the year for no return when they could have either traded him or signed him or whatever.
I just think there's so much depth at the wide receiver position
my point, yes.
in drafts where you can get a guy in the 4th round. You're like, yeah, he's good. Because a lot of people don't, unless you're getting one of the top guys, they don't see a lot of value in drafting a guy. It's like, he's like 10th on our board in the 2nd round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those guys, while they probably should be a 2nd round, they fall to the 4th and 5th round. So that's where I'm just like, you've missed on so many picks and wasting picks. Like the Charlie Jones pick is a waste. I mean, you could have had another safety or another defensive back at that pick, but you wasted it on a guy that's frankly terrible at returning punts too. I just call it what it is.
True.
So
yeah, they're not. That's the thing. They're not spending money. They're also not hitting on draft picks that are supposed to help them from not spending this money.
And that's the thing is now that these contracts are coming or here, right? That you cannot miss on draft picks. If you do, it shows on the field. It will show on the field, and it's already showing. It's only going to get worse if they miss on more draft picks. Of all the bad thing they've done, Mims is a legit tackle. He's been good.
I guess so, but also my guy got carted off yesterday and then came back in the game.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be are you hurt or you injured dog player. I just know he is.
Yeah.
He was like that at Georgia.
Yeah, that was bad. You're like, oh, dude, he's out for the season. And then all of a sudden they're like, he's back in.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Carted off.
That
was a tough scene, by the way.
Dax Hill, by the way, ACL tear done for the year.
Walks to the locker room.
He this is saying something.
Just to compare the two, right. Torn ACL, walks to the locker room. Bruised ankle, carted off, back in the game.
That's the difference between a Michigan man and a Georgia Bulldog.
Apparently.
I'm kidding. But yeah, Dax, second best coverage player on the team currently, and now he's gone for the year, so it's not like things are getting better as they go to the bench.
Yeah.
Von Bell looks completely done.
Oh, yeah, he's toast.
Holy shit. I didn't realize it could be that bad.
I just feel like that's a position, too, just like wide receiver. Like as soon as they just lose like that littlest, like
Oh,
tiniest little step, it's like it seems like they're like 4 steps behind.
Right.
And that's like a defensive back's the same way.
Yeah, so it's just like resetting. The final thing we have to talk about, obviously, is what happened in overtime.
Fireable.
Yes. Now
it's not going to happen.
So they get lucky basically, and they get the fumble to take over, and they're in field goal range, right? They're inside the 40.
I think that's a good pause right there. When you're at a game, you're no longer allowed texting. You are a minute and a half, 2 minutes ahead of us.
Fair.
And literally, I was
Streaming.
like, you sent that text. We got lucky. I'm sitting in the basement with a handful of our neighbors, and I'm like, bet there's a turnover here.
You're welcome.
30 seconds later, the other play's still going on. The play before that happened.
Yeah.
And you sent that, and I'm like, bet we get a turnover here. 30 seconds later, snap, blah, 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 oh, fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
noted
yes,
for the future.
Yes.
I'll let you guys be the first
Or
texters.
just give it like 3 minutes. Like, okay, I can
I'll just
send
wait
this
for
now.
I'll wait for someone to to send something first. I was just on full tilt that whole game. Dude, like it was just the offense looking as good as it did, and it wasn't just that the defense couldn't stop anybody. It was like insane shit that Lamar was doing.
Yeah.
The play where the ball's on the ground and Hubbard is chasing him down, but he can't move because he's dust, and he gets double stiff armed.
You're too hard on him, man.
No,
That's your second best defensive player out there.
Look, I'm not happy about that.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, he gets double stiff armed by Lamar, who throws like a fadeaway jump pass as he's going out of bounds across the field between like 4 defenders for a touchdown.
Yeah. By the way, there was like 4 guys out of position. Like they're just scrambling around. 2 guys weren't even covering anybody.
It just makes no sense. That's why I said we
like,
got
at that point, like in the scramble drill, like you find somebody and just follow them around. Like I feel like it's not that hard. Like it can't be that hard.
Ugh. Yeah. Anyway,
but it's fireable. Yeah, I mean, playing for a long field goal is fireable.
Yeah, and now he came out in the presser and said they had a pass play call, but Joe checked out of it.
That's a tough scene too.
Look,
I don't care who called the play. As the coach, you come out and go, "Yeah, I called that. That's me. That's on me."
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, look,
you like even if it's not true, even if it's not true, let's just say what he said is true.
Correct.
You are the coach. The buck stops with you. You take that blame.
And if that is true and you called a pass play and your quarterback checked out of it, pull your quarterback over and be like, "Hey, we're running a pass play here."
Yeah.
And I don't care what you see.
Like
unless they drop into a prevent defense and have 3 down linemen, we're throwing the ball.
Yeah.
We're not running it here.
Yeah.
This just truly the guy just it's not. There's no conviction. There's no.
Yeah. I think Mike LaFleur, head coach, is incoming quicker than I thought.
I don't need that. I don't want that.
The family's. It's a coaching tree. That family.
I don't want. I mean, I guess at least he's part of the Shanahan tree. I'd rather have that.
Hey, he's not bad. I mean, he made Will Levis look good last year. Like, think about that for a hot second. Because he was at Tennessee. He actually made Will Levis look serviceable. Look at him this year. He's garbage.
Well, that's Brian Callahan. That's on us, I guess. Yeah, they're not going to fire Zach. I just know it's not going to happen.
No, they're not, because they held on to Marvin forever. And
he
Marvin
was here
didn't
for
make a Super
16
Bowl.
years and he didn't win a playoff game. At least Zach's got.
I mean, I
somewhere.
think the expectations are now not that low, right? Like getting to the playoffs is no longer the bar, and it was when Marvin was here. It was like we just got to get back to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
The bar is definitely higher. The Brown family sucks. They just suck. I mean, like they've done some really cool. It's more of his daughters. They've done some really cool stuff with the stadium, but from an aspect of like just running a team, the same stuff is still there, right? The shooting yourself in the foot with Jamar and all that. It's just a never-ending debacle.
Yeah, just nothing's ever easy.
Yep.
And then it's the same frustration I had with the Reds for a long time. Like when the Reds were, 10, 15 years ago when they were in it, and they had opportunities, they just would never make like that last move to put like, we're going in the season. After selling you for, the 5 seasons before that on like
we're building up for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
at least the Castellinis are lovable owners.
What? Is that a joke you just said?
Dumb, lovable owners. They're more likable than Mike Brown, and that's not even...
Do you remember when Phil Castellini said, "Where are you going to go?"
Yeah. He's not wrong.
Dude, get him out of here. You know what? Everyone needs to sell the teams here. Give him up.
The problem we run into with sports teams, like, you go to Los Angeles, like, you probably have 12, 15 people that can buy a sports team, right?
Sure.
Maybe 20. In Los Angeles, New York, same way. You probably have 20, 30 guys that can, and families that can buy a sports team, like to actually have the money, the capital, and things like that to buy a sports team. Cincinnati had one family, one person on the Forbes 400, one, and it was Mike Brown. Like, we don't have just like, we have like very well off people in the city, but like sports team people, sports team money, we don't have it. So like, that's what happens, right? You get stuck, right? You get stuck with somebody. Like, we're stuck with the Castellinis. We're stuck with fucking Brown family forever and ever and ever and ever until we never win a championship.
Okay. Well,
I think that's a good spot to end.
Now, last thing, Nick tried to sell me on a little bit of hope today, which I told him, don't give me hope. But now this may not matter because we thought they were going to have some, super easy schedule to start the season, and they're 1-4. However, they are next 4 weeks at the Giants.
They've got a pretty winnable schedule.
Sunday Night Football. They're at the Browns after that. They host the Eagles, and then they host the Raiders in back-to-back weeks before a Thursday nighter at Baltimore.
Those
are winnable.
They're definitely winnable with a trash defense.
Yeah.
Eagles aren't torching any. That's their hardest game in that stretch. I mean, outside of Baltimore, that's their hardest game in that stretch. They're not the Eagles of 2 years ago. They're not. They're not getting anything and everything they want on offense. So, yeah, I mean, that's the hardest one. And then even then, it's like
they feel kind of like on edge.
They feel beatable, right? Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, like Sirianni's, a couple more losses away from guaranteed being fired next, in the offseason.
Yeah.
So
if they can find a way in those 4 games, look, you get to, 4-5, 5-4 over those 4 games.
Yeah.
Not what you expected at the start of the year, but with how the league works, like if you're around 500 with a few games to go, you have a chance to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, if you're any team in the AFC, you do not want a 7-seed Bengals coming to play you.
No, just because their offense is so good. Their offense is going to be good regardless.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's like there's not a lot of teams that feel comfortable with being in a shootout. Like, there's teams that can still win those games, but like feeling comfortable and winning them are very different things. Like, I don't think Baltimore particularly feels comfortable with being in a shootout.
I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, obviously, but like beyond that in the AFC,
not a lot.
Not much.
No. And I remember, I think we were like 3 years ago, we're like, gosh, AFC is just loaded.
Oh, yeah.
This never, and look at it, it's like all young quarterbacks. It's never going to change, all this. And now you're like, all the AFC teams are looking over. You got like the NFC. It's like, you got the NFC North. The Bears are somehow 3-2 with Caleb Williams. And the Vikings are 5-0 with Sam Darnold. Which is
Jared Goff, 3-1.
Jared Goff's 3. Like, you just look on the other side and like the quarterback level is not where it's at. But I think from an aspect of like those teams have a little more money to play with on other positions.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, they don't have that quarterback, but the team itself is pretty good,
Right.
So
I don't know. I'm not ready to completely write them off. I feel like they got to change something. They probably won't. So that'll be frustrating, but I don't know. We'll talk again next week, but within over the next 4 weeks, it's like this is the time. Like if the season is not going to be lost, these next 4 weeks is where they'll save
it's
it.
a make or break, and they've got to either go 3-1 or 4-0.
Yes,
period.
Absolutely have to.
Anything less than that, the season's over.
Correct. Okay. You got anything about your Packers you want to get off your chest? You feel okay?
We're just winners, you know.
Just winners. It's just a culture.
Tucker Kraft, like I said, I love a good tight end. I love a good tight end. Yeah. And my guy just going off yesterday, rumbling for 66 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, just makes my day. And then Jordan Love, just a grinder, throws the pick six, comes back, 12 straight completions, 2 touchdowns. He was a goldfish yesterday. That was a horrendous throw, by the way. Well, just going on the record.
Fair. This is big of you.
It was. He tends to do that sometimes. By the way, first pick six. 752 throws he made. Oh, that was his first pick six.
That's honestly impressive, yeah.
Well, I think when he came in last year, their mindset was like with Aaron Jones and things, dude, just don't turn the ball over. Like, if you could not turn the ball over, we're going to have a chance in every game. So he's in that mindset of like, but now he's like, what's more impressive is if he's over the last 18 games, like when they went on their hot streak last year and then the beginning of this season, he's making more risky throws and not throwing those picks and pick sixes and things like that. I think that's more impressive than anything. But yeah, that was his first. I couldn't believe it. Tony Romo was like, holy crap. Like, he was even surprised when Nance said it yesterday on TV. He's like, it's over 700 throws with no pick sixes. And that was his first one in the NFL. So,
yeah.
But that's all I got. The Rams are just because of coaching.
Yeah. McVay and Stafford's going to get you all.
Like, I never felt comfortable in that game ever. Like, they went up 11. I'm like, yeah, like, you got Stafford though. Like, and then it came down and scored in like 2 minutes. I'm like, see, that's why you can't. And it's just good. Again, good coaching overcomes a lot because their roster is not good. Like, they should have no business being in any game with anybody, you know, especially with Kupp and Puka's out, you know. I think their offensive line is like guys that were working at the local Goodwill 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not good, but like coaching, like good coaching means, I mean, you see it, you saw it, not to go back to the Bengals, but like
it matters.
It does matter.
It matters.
100%.
All right, ready for some fan mail? We'll get into this.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so shout out or flashback, I guess, to last week's episode, our coffee conversation. Gunth immediately texts in and made sure to let people know that they need to go look up the Nick Van Exel iced coffee video. If you forgot about that one, that was like 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it's so good though.
But he's like riding around in a golf cart and he's got an iced coffee.
It was like a caveman discovering fire.
Yeah, and he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be mad at y'all for letting me sleep on iced coffee because it's so good. It's such a funny
and
video.
It's just like a Twitter video. It's like, and he's in a golf cart. He's on the golf course,
just
which
totally
is even
random.
more funny.
But yeah, Gunn said to this day he refers to it as iced coffee instead of an iced coffee just because of that video, which is like such a ridiculous deep cut for him to be using. But I respect it.
Nick Van Exel, God, he was so good.
He was, man,
so good.
Another frequent caller into the program here, Tom Soresi, was curious how the Elks Ryder Cup shirts turned out this year and was curious if they were from Temu again.
They weren't Temu shirts. We got FootJoy shirts this year.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Massive upgrade, Tom.
Plain white, like FootJoy. They're good, though. They weren't Temu shirts. That's so good.
Yeah, that was funny.
I said I looked like a bomb pop in a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
There's really no other way to explain it.
So accurate. Like that might have been the most like accurate descriptor you've ever given of anything ever.
I know.
Yeah, it was so good. And then last but not least, Big Pat. This must have been something that happened to him or something because I don't understand this fully. He asked about a ruling on if your ball is in a golf cart, like you hit your ball into someone's golf cart and they pull away before you can get to your ball. What do you do? I don't know what the real ruling for this would be.
So then, like, you figure, like, let's just say, like, they're on 9, they pull away to, like, the snack shack, right? And then you're like, where the hell is my ball? And they go, oh, hey, guys, like,
Not even
your
like,
ball,
I don't even think it's like I picked it up, but it's like you hit
like
it into
it was
their
like,
golf cart.
hey, you like, I guess it got in here somehow, like, and it bounced in their golf. So you just like, hey, relatively where was it at? And then you would make the drop like where you thought it was.
Is it just a replace, or do you think it's a penalty? Is it a penalty?
No, it's not a penalty.
Yeah.
No, it's a free drop. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the movable obstruction.
And I guess if you weren't able to recover the ball, it'd be a lost ball and replay from the
and you
previous
didn't
shot.
know it was in their card. Like if you knew it was in their card, then it wouldn't be a lost ball. You could go.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you didn't know it and they drove off, and yeah, then you would take a lost ball and go back to where you hit from.
Tough scene there. Yeah, and that would be a penalty. So, all right. I'm glad we cleared that up. Hopefully you don't ever have to deal with that. But Pat, if you had to, hopefully you got the right ruling in that case.
And you know what? We didn't even bring up, because I saw Pat out. They were out there last Wednesday when I was playing my singles match play.
Yeah.
I want to take on this, and I want people to chime in on this. So we play our had to play at 4:00, right? Just schedules. We finish in the dark. We end up all square through 18. Schedules again, right? And then you're just like, we're just running out of daylight, like legitimately running out of daylight. Co-champions.
Is it a championship match?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was the finals.
It was very gentlemanly of you both. Feels like a 2003 President's Cup situation. Like truly, do you remember that? That's when like Tiger and Ernie couldn't finish the match because of the darkness. So they called it and they halved the cup. It was a tie. That's what you guys did.
Yeah, and you know, we were sitting there briefly talking before we decided this was going to be the best route to go. And I was like, you know, like we have our 2-man in a couple days, and it's like, well, next Wednesday I've already got this.
Yeah.
Week other than that, it's pretty full. I had that today, right? And then it's like, yeah, I'm like, what about the next week? Oh, yeah, I don't have a little bit, you know, I've got a little bit going on. That it's like, can't play it especially because said person's a teacher. I get it, like getting out of school, getting there, like 4:00's already pushing it. You know what I mean? But then like I got in the car and I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. I don't know, like
it feels very un-Justin. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I get it. Like if this was September, it's like, hey, we're gonna come back in a month or 3 weeks, and whenever we get an hour and a half, we can go out and play our extra holes or whatever. But it genuinely was like, I'm starting to look and I'm like, can't play this in November, right? Like, and it's like the thought of coming out and playing, like, it could be a hole.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, man, it's like, take time out of my day, go out there, and it's like we play a hole.
Sure.
So
what about like could you have done a potential scorecard playoff situation?
No, because
I mean it's match play, so it's a little different. But if like someone won, I guess on the hardest hole, that could potentially.
I mean, I guess you could be like, well, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
That's the only thing I could possibly think of.
I don't know what I don't think there's any tiebreakers for match play. Like there's none in a rule book, right?
Yeah,
like
you're right. You either have the match or you play extra holes.
Yeah. And then if it's like in a situation like this where there's no having like a Ryder Cup or whatever, there's either a winner or a loser, and you just got to go to extra holes, right?
Yeah, I think you guys did what you had to. Although I'm disappointed by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I'm like, But I mean, it makes sense to do what you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of one of those things. It was like he made so many putts, and it was like, but then like I did some good thing. Like we both kind of like went back and forth. It was a really good match. Like I'd let some stuff slip away. Like I had my opportunities, and frankly, he did too. You know what I mean? Like at 17, you know, if he got a really bad break, and it's like if he ties that hole and we go to 18, we tied on 18, like he wins the match. Like he had his opportunities. I had 2 or 3 opportunities to really put, and but it was a really good match, and it was like, and then you start looking at schedules, you're like, and it's in October, you're like, God. But I got in the car, I'm like, God, it hurts. Like it hurts in a way of like I would have rather lost.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds crazy, but, like, I would have rather lost than have it.
Yeah. For the true inside circle of the Back 9 6-pack fans, it's pretty funny that you and him are co-champions.
He's got my number. Like I was telling him, I said that on 18, man. We walked off 18. I'm like, Paul, you got I'll say his name. Paul, you got my number, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, you make everything when we play, and I can't make anything. It's
a mental game, baby.
And he just laughed, and I'm like, it's funny. At this point, it's like we've played so many times in like Stampede and the singles match play. Like, he's just like, he's got my number. Him and Keith, his partner in the Stampede, like both of those dudes have my number. And I don't know what it is. Like, it's crazy. It's funny. Like, I laugh about it now. It's like, it's just like certain people that I was like, I told him we were walking off the green. I'm like, dude, you like, as soon as we get on the course together, you become like circa Tiger Woods circa 2001 with a putter in your hands.
Right.
Like, it's like 10 footers or like tap-ins. I kid with him on 18. He made that 8-footer to tie the match. I kidded with him. I said, Paul, I swear to God, I thought about giving you that putt. Because you hadn't missed one all day. And he just laughed. I'm like, it's true, though. And he was like, I haven't. And he was like, I don't know if I've missed anything inside 10 feet today.
Bring out the best in him.
So, yeah. So I just wanted to get a take on that. And if anybody has any other opinions on that, love to hear them.
Yeah, again, send us a fan mail. It's that link in the top of the episode description. If you just give that a click, shoot us a text.
Yep.
Patio beers time?
Yeah.
Heading to the patio?
Yeah. I'm going first this week. I love my question.
Let it rip. That's fine.
So, the hiring of Terry Francona.
Yep.
Brings up, and I had this discussion today. Of all your sports teams, what is and we know you have like 9 or 10 college football teams, so it's going to be really hard for you to decide.
It's tough, yeah.
What is the best hire that one of your teams have done?
Oh, damn.
Like maybe in hindsight or just like, and it doesn't even have to be like results driven, right? Like at the time you're like, holy crap, they knocked it out of the park. This feels like an unbeatable hire. Man. I've got a couple for me.
Yeah, you've got a couple because you've got some storied programs, so to speak.
Yeah, but like they've made some bad hires too. Like,
true.
And I'm going to flip this on his head. We're going to do one bad one and one good one. Like, what's one bad hire?
Yeah.
One good hire?
Oh, undoubtedly the worst one, and I think many of us knew this at the time.
I already know this is going.
Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
Was undoubtedly the worst. Like,
honestly, though, like at the time, it was like, okay, like he's kind of proven, right? Like little bit. That guy was on the back end of his career, though. He wanted nothing to do with coaching at that point. It was just something for him to do, honestly.
Yeah, that one was bad. I mean, I'm sure there's actually worse ones, like if I really sat here and thought about it, but like that one was just like, it felt like the program had done it. They've been hiring a certain way for so long, and this was like such a departure from that.
Yeah.
And it was clearly like just a complete like 180 from where they had been. And it was like, you're not going to build anything with it. He either really gives a shit and is going to like try to take you to the next level, or what happened was he's like on his way out and this is just like a last paycheck. Yeah. And they just went and it tanked the team for a bit. So yeah, that's the worst one that immediately comes to mind. Best one? I mean, look, my brother-in-law played at Michigan. His senior year was Harbaugh's first year.
Yep. Yeah.
Coming off of, Lloyd Carr kind of like petered out towards the end of his career there, and then Brady Hoke he had like one good season, then kind of they just floundered for a while. So Harbaugh kind of restored Michigan to what it is, or what it was before, and then now obviously what it is. They just won the championship last year. But my brother-in-law's first year, or senior year was his first year, and big turnaround. They went like 11-2 or something, and they won a big like Citrus Bowl or something, I think, against Florida.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that was like an immediate turnaround for that program.
Yeah, I mean, like, I fucking hate Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I will be the first to admit that, but I have to admit, too, like, he's a proven winner at both levels. You know what I mean? So It's kind of like, guy went to a Super Bowl, asterisk, national championship.
Right.
But still, like, even his record at this team up north, I'm not going to say their name, I refuse to do that, still wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't like what Michigan, God damn it, I said it.
Yep.
What they expected. But, like, he wasn't, like, bad. He was recruiting pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, but he did have a pretty quick turnaround when he came in.
For sure. A little more, like, closer to home in terms of, like, my fandom. I do think the Dusty Baker hire was really good.
Dude, it was so good.
Like, it sucked that he didn't get over the hump.
It was an honorable mention for me.
It sucked he didn't get over the hump, like, with the Reds, and, like, he went on to win the World Series later or whatever.
It sucks. It sucked watching. I'm glad he got one, but it still was like...
But that again, it was just one of those, like, that the team was ascending. They were, like...
Like, it was the hire that needed to be. Like, kind of what Terry feels like,
That's
right?
what it feels like to me, and I'm hopeful that is what it is. And the other one, you can't take it away from him. I mean, Luke Fickell took the Bearcats football team to
pretty great hire,
college football playoffs. Like,
and like he was a hire of like a couple hires that I think UC's done really well with.
Yeah,
right?
And you look at what was there before and what's
like,
happened after.
Brian Kelly. Like, as much as like I don't really like Brian Kelly that much, but he's not a bad football coach. Like, that's a great hire.
Yeah, and I thought about saying Brian Kelly too, but like
Luke Fickell achieved more. Like, he went to playoff and stuff like that.
That's my thought as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of those are my picks.
So I've got two bad ones, and they're like so bad, like such bad outliers.
Sure. Billy Gillespie.
That's number one. Billy Clyde Gillespie. The guy, if he drank as much as he won, he'd probably still be the coach of Kentucky. He was just a raging alcoholic.
Or if he won as much as he drank.
Same thing. Just terrible. God, he was so bad. He's such a bad people person, too. And that is a job, like, just college athletics in general, but certain fan bases, like, you kind of have to be a people person, right? Like, to a certain extent. Like, the only people that have been able to get away with it is, like, maybe one, Nick Saban. Like, he can just be a total ass to everybody.
Sure.
It's like, well, you won't even think about how big of an asshole I just was when we win our 12th national championship this year.
I mean, I kind of think that was just like his media personality. The more like you watch him on game day now and how awesome he is,
dude, he's so good on game
like
day.
All of his players, like
they love him.
A man,
they
love
him.
So like, I really think it was just like his media persona.
I get it, but like you see what I'm saying. Like he's not a gigantic people person. It's just
he does not come off that way.
He is the only person that could get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Billy Clyde Gillespie was terrible with the fan base, like to the point where like there's rumors of him going out to dinner and like people would look and he'd start cussing people out. Like, it's just bad, and his teams were awful. Players hated him.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to like be like that and it's like your players love you, but like he sucked. Players hated him. He like Jody Meeks, like locked Jody Meeks in a bathroom stall in one of the locker rooms. Like, there's so many bad stories of him out there. Terrible hire. Him. This is a deep cut. Ray Rhodes, Green Bay Packers, 1 year, post Holmgren, went 8-8. He was 99. Lasted one season after Mike left.
Huh. I guess I just assumed it went straight to Mike Sherman.
No, he was next for 6 seasons. Also terrible, by the way. But Ray Rhodes, 1 season, 99, went 8-8, canned.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, like, I think Dick LeBeau may have been a one-hit wonder with the Bengals. He was like a 2-14 season. Bruce Coslett was also a massive failure with the Bengals. I mean, there's
some bad ones, yeah.
But those kind of like, I don't know. It depends on where it hits you in your.
But like from a perspective of Packers fan, right? You're coming off Mike Holmgren. You're coming off Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl win. It's like everybody and anybody wants that job. You land on Ray Rhodes. Like, I just don't like, you know, it'd been like, for instance, like, you know, I don't know, like, name a team with a famous coach and it's like they win a national title and it's like they go and get like the assistant defensive coordinator at like Tulsa. You know what I mean? Like,
hey now.
Oh, sorry. Forgot you have a family. Or like they get like the defensive coordinator at like Marshall or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just totally underwhelming for the amount of people that actually want the job.
Sure.
So there's that. I say this to this day. Like, I think Ryan Day is a great football coach. I think he's an elite recruiter. Still to be seen whether he can win big games. I think from a perspective of I say I'm very different than some Ohio State fans in that I look at things objectively. That's another job where it's like you had Urban Meyer, right? You probably could have hired just about anybody, maybe outside of like Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And you took Ryan Day that was on staff. But I know the way Urban went out, you're trying to get some stability within the team and the program and things like that. You're going to hire someone from within that was an offensive coordinator. But some could say an underwhelming hire.
Yeah. I mean, you see teams do that all the time where it's kind of like next man up, and then in his case, it's, pretty much worked out. Like they haven't maybe had the top end success. But sometimes you'll have that happen and it goes really poorly.
And now that I kind of look back on it after Kentucky's gone through a coaching search, there's just some guys that are not built for that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like you would have thought Kentucky could have had anybody, right? Everybody wants to be me and Gunn talked about it. Like from a basketball perspective, it's one of the most sought after, like profile wise, is what we were kind of ranking him as. So like he was like really like outside the coach of the Lakers and maybe the Celtics. Like it might be like the next one in line that's like profile, like the amount of power you have in that job, the amount of people that know you in that job. But like some people just don't want that, right? Like they're like, like for instance, Nate Oates at Alabama, he's like, nah, I'm kind of happy here. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need that pressure or whatever you want to call it. So, but those are my two bad ones. My good one, Urban Meyer at Ohio State. Ohio person, knocked it out of the park. And then Calipari at Kentucky.
For sure.
It went off the tracks at the end, but like in the moment, you're like, he did that at Memphis. You're like, holy shit, what is he going to do at Kentucky? Now he only won one national title, but it's like every year it was like, it was a machine. Like especially up until like 2018, it was like a machine of like they're probably going to be in the Final Four, probably an Elite Eight, guaranteed. You know what I mean, kind of thing. And that's hard in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean they had been knocked off their pedestal, and he put them back on it. For sure.
Yeah, but you're like when they first hire him, you're like, dude, he did that at Memphis. It's like, what is he going to do with all those resources? And he did exactly what I think everybody thought. Yeah. Maybe outside maybe another national title or whatever. So that was my other good one.
Yeah. Okay. Good question. Love it. I'm going to shout out Nick for this one. He randomly texted me this last week. Him and Rachel have a lot of interesting conversations, and a lot of times
I would love to be a fly on the wall.
He'll shoot me a text and be like, "I need to know what you think of whatever," and then it goes from there. This is one of those. In like elementary, middle school, whatever, you got 4 main subjects, right?
Yep.
Language arts, science, math, history.
Yep.
What color folder would you associate with each of those subjects?
Okay, so let's start out with. I'm going to start out with history.
Interesting. Okay.
Red, probably.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Math, yellow for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Language arts, probably blue.
Okay.
What's the last one?
Science.
Probably green.
Yeah. Okay. You're not a crazy person. I think you're within the.
Yeah, maybe
you're
like
within the standard deviation.
The yellow for math, maybe a little off the wall. I don't know.
You said blue for math. You said
blue,
yellow for history. Yeah.
Yellow for no. I said red for history.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
And I said yellow for math, blue for language arts.
Gotcha.
Green for science.
Yeah, your answers are acceptable for sure.
Yeah, because like I think green, it's like like trees, dude, or whatever.
Green for science is like a slam dunk. 10 out of 10. If you don't answer green for science, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, it just seems like the right color.
That is certifiably the correct answer. I'll listen to debates on everything.
This is an interesting question.
It is.
So what did you say?
Green for science, obviously, because I'm not a crazy person. I went language arts. I went yellow.
I could have flip flopped those. Yeah, I could have flip flopped the blue and the yellow for sure.
I look at, and I think I texted Nick this at the time. Like, I think this is a little bit Freudian. I had red for math because fuck math. So I think it was just in my subconscious.
Dude, I'm so bad at math, and I've got a kid that struggles with it, and I'm like, she's like, Dad, what'd you do in school? I'm like, somehow got through. I don't know.
Here's my thing with math.
I slipped through the cracks.
My thing with math is like, look, I'm a logic-based person, right? And math, it should be the most logical subjects, right?
You would think.
Okay, I think it gets to a certain point, though. Like, once you get past algebra, geometry, even trigonometry, I'll give it.
Yeah.
Those things, like, they make sense. It's all logic. It's whatever. Once you start getting into calculus bullshit, and there's like...
Yeah, it's...
There's like imaginary numbers now, and there's fucking parabolas and all this like just bullshit. It feels like it just lost me at some point. So that's when I just kind of was like, all right, I'm good on math now. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's my math. I went a little bit, I got a little bit weird with the history though. Orange came to my mind for some reason.
I thought red only because of like America. You know what I mean?
If I had to like, if I looked at my list again and pivoted it all, I would make math blue and history red, which I think is similar to
I think it's pretty close to what I had.
But these were my immediate answers were green, red, yellow, and orange.
So I want to know how this goes off the tracks. I would love to hear.
I think if you don't answer green for science, there's something wrong with you. Like, I truly do. I don't know who is not picking green for science.
Yeah, that's the slam dunk, right? I think
green
the rest of them you can kind of like
energy.
You can justify the rest of them.
100%.
Green, if you're like doing green for like history, we got problems.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would grab a green folder and be like, this is probably like social studies or something. No.
Yeah. So I did. I caught a little flack from Nick because I did not use blue when he's like, what are you doing not using blue? Which I understand. That's why I said if I had to like rethink it, I probably would have blue in there instead of having orange.
I mean, I think for the most part, every year I had like the same colors for the same subjects. Like I never deviated.
I'm going to take it that you were not an organized person.
No.
Okay, me either.
No.
I am.
No.
I texted Nick this at the time too, and he's
I fly by the edge of my seat for sure.
Yeah.
Every day of my life.
I was the kid that was like, I'm going to have one binder that everything goes in. Like I got one folder, dog.
Yeah.
I know where it's at. Yeah. It's all in this one place.
It's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, like my desk is that. Like I can find stuff on my desk. Nobody else can find stuff on my desk.
Right.
I know exactly where everything's at. And that's how I'm like my computer, like, because now it's all digitalized, right? Like,
yeah, now you just have a digital mess.
Like, dude, oh, my work computer, like, I've got files everywhere. Like, they're not even in folders, dude. They're just everywhere.
No.
And it was so funny. You know, someone was like, hey, can you send this to me? I found it in like 3 seconds. Like, I knew exactly where it was on my screen.
Yeah.
And I've had people comment, like, how do you even find something that you need? Because they're not even like named. Like they're just like, you know, you see the PDF sent over and it's like P0060. But I know what it is. Like I know what it is.
Yeah. See, I'm a much more organized person in my digital life than I am in my like hard documents and like in school and stuff.
Now emails, I am very organized.
Interesting.
Very. Like I've got folders for everything. Like
yeah.
That like our stuff, like I have a folder in my email that everything goes into that.
Yeah. No, I've got folders on folders on folders. I'm very particular about that.
I am with my email because I hate seeing unread messages.
Yeah.
That freaks me out. It just completely freaks me out. So I have to have folders. But like email, super organized. Everything else, paper, it's
my work email is pretty organized. My personal email is just like a dumpster fire, dude. Like, there's just so many like, every single day, the hundreds of like promotional emails you get.
Of like homage deals.
I bet you I got like 2,000 unread messages right now.
God, no, I do like a mass read.
Yeah.
Every day.
I should be better. Oh my God. I have 2,782 unread emails.
So like this might be the worst that my phone ever gets, right?
Yeah.
And I'm 14 unread text messages. Most of those are in a family chat with my in-laws.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee like 8 of those are. 11 unread work emails and 11 personal unread emails. Like that.
That's pretty clean.
And honestly, I'm kind of freaking out. Like this will be cleaned up before bed.
Yeah.
Like I'm just looking at it now and I'm like, no, can't have this. Like,
I get it.
Can't do it. So.
All right. Well, I feel like we learned something tonight.
Psychology.
Yeah. I'm just really glad you answered green for science. I'm glad we didn't have to go down that road.
Yeah, God no. I'm not a psycho like that.
Good. All right. Well, if anybody has thoughts on that, please, send us a fan mail. I'd love to know your folder colors. That'd be awesome. Let us know how many unread emails you have. If you can top my almost 3,000, that'd be fascinating to know as well.
I do want to hear people send in like unread messages. I'm always curious about that.
Yeah.
And typically when someone sends one in, if like you know who sends it in, you're like, that makes sense. Like,
sure.
If there's like a ton of unread ones, you having 2,000 is a little surprising.
I used to be so good at keeping it clean, and then just somewhere along the line,
It's just like I'm
like, dude, I just can't. Honestly, it's one of those things where I should just like delete them. It's just like
no wonder you can get the Ryder Cup email.
Clean slate. No, I did. I was working.
Hidden in the other 2,100 messages.
No, it was bad captaining. That's what I heard. All right. Thank you all for listening. Please, if you've not signed up for the Turkey Open and you want to play, back96back.com/Turkey Open. Sign up for that. And then obviously, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Helps out a lot. Big downloads week for us last week was exciting. So people out there, you're making an impact. We appreciate it. We do appreciate it. Hopefully next week I'm less sad and we have a Bengals victory. So Sunday Night Football, it could be tough. Especially because it's Tyler's Giants that I'm going up against. So I can't lose to Danny Dimes. I can't do it. All right.
Oh, let's get out of this dark place.
Until next time, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.